I'm delighted to be with you again today to bring to our attention another interesting program on this our platform. I welcome all our subscribers. We appreciate all our viewers all over the globe for supporting our channel. We are indeed proud of you. Knowing fully well that we have just started this platform, there are some important information that we add value to our engagement and our participation, which we want to bring to our consciousness as we go along. This platform is a solution-focused platform where we have several therapists, and more importantly, we shall be teaching out contents that we add value to our life as an individuals. But it is important for me to also make us understand that we are going to have an anchor, a slogan that we shall be using on this platform. And this slogan will run through all our programs, and each of the episodes we shall be teaching out on this platform. And the slogan is goodness and mercy shall follow us all the days of our life. So when I say goodness and mercy, our viewers, you are expected to say, shall follow me all the days of my life. You can also type it in the comment section by saying, shall follow me all the days of my life. And if I say all the days of my life, then you will say goodness and mercy shall follow me. We want to personalize it. We want us to know that as we keep saying it and confessing it, we shall be getting the blessing. It shall be manifesting in our life, and every one of us will be enjoying the goodness and the mercy of God. Now, welcome once again into this episode and program. And in this place, all of us, we shall enjoy this program. When we look at mental health as an individual, to some individual, this concept is abstract. What does it mean when we say mental health of an individual? Of course, as we all know, health is a broad concept. For example, we have the physical aspect of our health, which has to do with doing exercise, eating well, feeding well, and etc., etc. But beyond the physical, we also have the social dimension of our health, which has to do with our friends, people around us. And we know that the Owambe slogan, most weekend in some area, people will do a lot of things to ensure that they go for Owambe with their friends, so that at any point in time, when it comes to their turn, other people can support them. So their network, the network of friends they have, of course, will determine their net worth. But beyond the social, we have the financial aspect of our health, which has to do with cash in the pockets, as well as investment that can bring in money, which of course, very, very important in helping an individual to maintain a sound mind in a sound body. Beyond that, we have our spiritual health, which has to do with our relationship with God. And of course, these contribute a lot to our well-being. But despite all these dimensions of health that people prioritize, we find out that a lot of people neglect the mental health, which has to do with having a sound mind in a sound body. And of course, mental health, of course, without good mental health, all other health become useless, because mental health is the king of all our health. And in other words, if an individual does not enjoy good mental health, no matter the financial health, no matter the physical health, all the other one will be compromised, all the other one will be challenged. So it is important for us to listen to today's program so that as an individual, we can understand how the interplay between different aspects of our life can compromise the mental health, and what can we do to help ourselves so that we can enjoy good mental health. I will bring the story of an important person, a 28-year-old lady who is constantly worried about getting married. She's worried about going into marriage. She's worried and having fear, constant fears. What will befall her in marriage? She was beautiful and of course talented, and of course she has a good job. She is also financially capable, but over time she has suffered from different broken relationships. Why? Because at most time or the other, mental health issue that she has experienced before keep on resurfacing, and she could not manage it. So at the moment, she became worried about what will happen to her in marriage. And so at the time, she came to a conclusion that it's better for her to live a single life. We find out that, what could have led a 28-year-old lady who has other dimension of her head, at least relatively doing well, not willing to go into marriage? Then with interaction with her, we find out that she grew up, of course, from a home whereby could be described as a battleground between the father and the mom. This lady, while growing up, I call her name Lulu. Lulu is just a name given to this personality that we shall be looking at in this episode. So Lulu grew up in a home of 4 children. She happened to be the second child of her parents' 4 children. And of course they had 2 male and 2 female. While growing up, she grew up in a very toxic environment where when daddy is coming, everybody is running under the bed. Grew up in an environment whereby daddy is coming, everybody is saying, we don't know what is going to happen next. She grew up in an environment characterized by silent treatment. Many times, absence of the father was also very prevalent. And not only that, she grew up in an environment that was characterized by physical abuse. Father constantly beating the mom to stupor, and sometimes the mother got hospitalized. She grew up in an environment whereby she has to be living in constant fear of what will happen at any point in time. And there were a lot of conflict in her. For example, she must not disclose to the father that she doesn't like what the father was doing to the mother. And at the same time, she must not identify with the father so that the mother will not hate her. And in most cases, she has to be telling daddy, I love you. Even when she was bitter, she was angry, she was resentful and unhappy about what the father was doing to the mother. But if she fails to show superficial love to the father will not pay her school fees. The father will not buy her clothes. You can see, my viewer, a lot of conflict in the life of Lulu as she was growing up. And there were a lot of sadness, a lot of low self-esteem, inferiority complex. Growing up for Lulu was very toxic. It was not only Lulu alone, the other children also have a lion's share of the so-called emotional trauma that the family was going through at that time. Which one shall we talk about of Even the mother of Lulu, many times she was crying, weeping, because her expectation has been dashed in the marriage. There were a lot of emotional trauma. And what will now happen? So she grew up with this fear and worry that if this is what marriage typically look like, then it doesn't deserve going into. She of course tried one or two relationships, but they were not working out because of her emotional instability. Sometimes she's happy, sometimes she was sad. And this was the situation with Lulu. Apparently, she was actually going through poor mental health. In Lulu's case, she was having an unhealthy mind, which also translated to unhealthy body, because a time came when she was already having some sensation in her body which was associated with some somatic symptoms, or which could be described as somatic symptoms. So she was constantly living in fear. He was constantly living in anguish. And so this was the situation with Lulu, which actually exemplify a state of poor mental health. Now, what will be the fate of Lulu? Will Lulu be able to go into marriage, or will she going to remain like this without getting married, despite the other beautiful aspect of her life? So it is a thing of concern. It's a thing that we must take cognizance of to ensure that the mental health of people in homes are protected. Yes, of course, parents, father and mother may be giving money, they may be dropping money at home. Oh, that is good, but it's not sufficient. Emotional needs of children, emotional needs of the spouse, emotional needs of the family, even the environment the children grow is key to their emotional health. Can we imagine what Lulu suffered while growing up in childhood and in adolescence eventually haunted her to adulthood? At 28, she could not settle down with a person. At 28, she's worried, constantly in fear. Why? Because of the emotional trauma she suffered in childhood. Now, as we go along in this episode and in this presentation, we are going to see some other dimension. For example, why did Lulu's father maltreat the wife? Why did Lulu's father began to create a toxic environment for the household? Why is this man, whenever he's coming, everybody is terrified? These and many other things we shall look at in our second episode, and it will give us a clearer perspective of where this man was coming from and why the situation they were experiencing in the family actually cropped up. But it is important for us, as my viewers and our subscribers and new individuals that are joining us, to understand that the psychological climate where our family, our children, our spouses grow or live is key in helping them to develop good mental health. A good mental health is a situation whereby someone has a sound mind in a sound body. In other words, there is a congruence, there is positive relationship with the way they think, into the way they feel, as well as the way they behave. In other words, there is positive correlation. When people have good mental health, there is positive relationship between their thinking, their feeling, and their behavior. The better the thought, it leads to better feeling and also healthier behavior. When people have poor mental health, their thoughts and feeling and behavior are not aligning, and that is why you find some people with poor mental health, they think after they have acted. In other words, it is after behavior they now think. In other words, they have impulse issue, they act on impulse. This and many other things characterize individual having poor mental health, in which Lulu as an individual, in quote, fits into. So in our next episode, we'll be looking at the father. Why was Lulu's father become like this? Why was he maltreating the wife? Why was he maltreating the children? Even indirectly, why was it even toxic to himself? Because himself was not enjoying his life, because the environment has already become toxic. So I welcome every one of you to look forward for our next episode, which is going to be so fascinating. We want to dissect Lulu's father and get some insight into why he was behaving the way he acted. Thank you all for listening. Don't let us forget our slogan: goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. Let us type it in the comment section and say to ourselves that goodness and mercy shall continue to follow us from today and forevermore. Kindly like, share, and subscribe. We look forward to seeing you in our next episode. Thank you for listening. We are very grateful. Thank you, and thank you all.